Well, what do you guys think? 212 for 8. On the back of a world record opening stand in the T20 World Cup between Zaman and Sahibzada Farhan. The Zaman Jodi 176. Sri Lanka does not review in the 11th over when Zaman had edged it on 46. Last 7 overs, 35 runs. Well, last 4 overs, 35 runs, 7 wickets. The target now is 147 that Pakistan need to restrict Sri Lanka. And looking at their performances that has been there in the Super 8, 95, 110 close to, are we seeing a repeat of Kudrat Ka Nizam in 2026, Nikhil?
Well, I mean, there's so many things to talk about, and I know we don't have too much time because it's a very short break. I don't know where to start, but let's start with the target. I'll get to the Sri Lankan effort a little later. The poor effort in the first 15 and the good effort in the last 4 overs by Sri Lanka. We'll get to that a little later. But just looking at the target, firstly, it's a good batting pitch. Everything is good. There's going to be dew, so there will be runs that will be had in the second innings as well. But having said that, see, credit where credit is due. First to Pakistan. No matter what the situation, whatever the conditions, the fact is that on this day, they really needed to step up. We had discussed how their batting hadn't been firing. We had discussed how they've really not done well against permanent nations. It's only, associate nations where they've done well. Today was the day of asking. So first, credit where credit is due. They've put up a total which they would have wanted. Yes, there are two ways of looking at it. That where they were at one situation, 250 was looking easy. So sitting there in the dressing room, they may be thinking there was a great opportunity to get to 250. We haven't done that. So that's a failure. Having said that, I think overall, if you don't look at situations of the match, if you say at the toss, you've been put into bat, what's the total that you will take? Considering Pakistan's past performances, 212, I think they would have taken it with both hands. Why? Because where we were giving them a 5% chance at the start of the game, the chance is increased. That's definitely increased because they've done some bit of the job by taking it to 212. We had discussed what is it that is the best case scenario for Pakistan with the batting that they have. 180. If it was 180, you were looking at restricting Sri Lanka for 100. That would have been next to impossible. Now 143, there is something that they have opportunity to play with. So credit to Fakar and Sahibzada Farhan. By the way, that also doesn't come as a surprise. We had mentioned only these two players. If you remember in our pre-show, if Pakistan have to get a good total, I can only think of two batters that will do it. And today also it's proven right. Luckily for them, both came good on the day and have taken them to a total that they would have grabbed with both hands, 212. Having said that, and I'd love to know your opinion as well, I still think to dismiss Sri Lanka for 143 in a pitch like the one we've seen in Palakele, where the team that won the toss knew fully well there's going to be dew, where they knew the pitch is going to play well very early. See, the past matches in Sri Lanka, why it was a bit troublesome, because after the power play, the spinners would come into play. It would be next to impossible to bat. Today we saw there was no assistance for spinners. Now in the second half, it will be even wetter. No assistance for spinner. So ball really comes onto the bat and you have a good opportunity. So conventional logic, looking at the conditions, tell me there's no way that you can restrict Sri Lanka from less than 143.
147.
Okay? 147. Yeah. Having said that, pressure makes you do stupid things. Pressure made Sri Lanka do stupid things on the field. The bowlers were clueless, some drop catches, not taking the review, all of that. If that pressure ends up doing that to Sri Lanka, so from 5% where Pakistan were ahead of this game, I would now give them about a 25% chance of doing it. Even now, 75% no. See, if you had asked me if Pakistan can win this game, I would have given 55-45 based on the conditions that Pakistan 55 now because they've got runs on the board, good batting conditions. So I'm giving Sri Lanka also a chance, but it would have been 55-45. But suddenly if you say they have to restrict Sri Lanka to less than 150 on a belter of a pitch like this, also with dew coming into play, then I'm going back to 20-25% at best. But it's an increase in chances nonetheless. I don't know what you think.
It is an increase in chances even for me because see, 212 meaning If now the equation is simple, folks. If Sri Lanka are restricted to 147 or less, then and only then Pakistan can make it to the semi-finals. But there is an increased chance of that happening, because look at the performances in both the Super 8 games. But I will take it with a pinch of salt, because that happened in Palakele and at the Ketarama. But you would remember in that day game that happened in Palakele, Sri Lanka were bundled out for 95 in a pursuit of 150 against England. Against New Zealand, they were just 160, 170. They got bundled out for less than 110. With these totals, and if you get simple, if Patum goes, then I think it's game over. I think Sri Lanka, we anyway said they're not winning the game, but I think if they get restricted by that margin, I think the chances have increased even there.
You think if Patum goes, they won't get 147? I mean, see, if Patum goes, their chances of winning the game go down drastically. I agree. But if Patum goes, they can't get 147, is what you're telling me.
This batting lineup of Sri Lanka has been so woefully inept. If you look at the games against Australia, who led the charge? It was Pastum. You look at Pawan Ratnaike. Yes, Pawan Ratnaike is there, but this kind of a pressure situation, it might be too much for him to handle. Pawan Ratnaike and Patum Nisanka at this point in time, yes, Kusal Mendis is very hit and miss. Let's make one thing very clear. Kusal Mendis has been Sri Lanka's ultimate frustration for the past couple of years. So much talent, yet he just can't capitalize. Like you said, for Pakistan to get such a big total, it needed Sahibzada Farhan and Fakhar Zaman to do it. For Sri Lanka, it's Patum and Pawan Ratnaike. If they don't do it, then I'm sorry.
No, but I'm a bit surprised. Siddharth, see, if you had said, can they chase 212 down and then Patum doesn't fire, I'll agree with that completely, because it's a big total. He's been your man in form. I completely. 147, I think the rest of the batting order can manage. But anyway, since you think that if Patum gets out, they can't, I'm guessing you will give Pakistan a much higher chance now to make it to the semi-final than I would. What's your percentage?
My prediction is 51% Pakistan making it to a semi-final. Yes. Because today I have been telling this a lot of times. Somewhere when they face Sri Lanka in any format, Pakistan just turns on a switch. I mean, I'll give you two examples in different formats. 2014 Sharjah Test match. 1.5 sessions remaining. They had to chase 360 overs. They did it. They did it in the 57 overs. Look at the 2023 ODI World Cup in Hyderabad. 344. Rizwan did it. 345. Against Sri Lanka. Something they switch on when they play Sri Lanka in a major crunch situation. And that's where Sri Lanka falls flat. Pakistan raise their A game at this stage. So, whether they'll get to 147 itself might be a tall task. Because see, today, they don't have that many spinners. There is an Abrar, there is Usman Tariq, but then they have also gotten a Naseem Shaheen. Naseem and Shaheen. And look at the way how Shaheen made the ball talk in a night game in Palakele. So, it's a tall task.
No, but I tell you why I think, see, the reason, if they've gone a batter shot today, no Saim Ayub, they've gone a batter shot, primarily for this reason, they knew this was a belter of a pitch.
Yeah.
They will require their bowlers to help them out more than their batter. So that's why they went with it. So as I said, the good part for Pakistan is over, which is batting on this pitch, looking at the conditions. The worst part is yet to come. That's why, for me, if you say Sri Lanka doesn't win the game, I'll go 50-50. Okay, fair enough. But 147, I'm not ready to buy it. I'm giving it a 20-25% chance. But having said that, what was Sri Lanka up to? Yeah, looked absolutely clueless. The bowling, I don't know, Thiksana, maybe, I can't remember the last time he bowled as many full tosses as he bowled here today. He still finished with the economy of just around 8, which looks decent. But I can't remember the last time he bowled so many full tosses. Villalage, who's been their standout bowler this tournament, looked clueless again. The fielding, the one aspect of Sri Lanka that you always think is incredible, some of those catch drops and even in the boundary that you expect them to take, I don't know, to me it felt very flat from Sri Lanka. I know conspiracy theories are going to be out and things that we had mentioned that for Sri Lanka it's beneficial if Pakistan win because that way they'll get a semi-final in Sri Lanka. What to do, those conspiracy theories get some sort of credence with this kind of a listless performance from Sri Lanka, very flat, which I've not seen. I mean, they can lose, as we've seen,
I
Two very
mean,
important games they lost, but this sort of a listless performance, I'm a bit
I
surprised.
have been bombarded with messages. See, we told you, we told you, Pakistan will pull up their A game. Sri Lanka will do this deliberately. I've been getting messages. I'm saying, boss, this is cricket. Anything can happen. But now the conspiracy theories are going to get a lot of wind because see, if Pakistan go through to the semi-final, March 4th, Colombo, and most likely it will be South Africa. Because South Africa, if they win, they will be the top team in Group X. So it will be Pakistan, South Africa in Ketarama. So that is the one major issue that we are looking at now. See, okay, we can give them benefit of that. That's why I said 51% maybe Pakistan can qualify. 49% they don't qualify. But looking at it, Sri Lanka's batting just doesn't give me confidence at all. 95 and 108. How can I have performances with the batting lineup after being bundled out for 95 and 108? That was not in one venue, in both the venues. In Palakele and
But those
Ketara.
were different conditions. Those were different conditions, Siddharth. You remember when you got similar conditions? By the way,
180.
this is the ground which is quite similar to the Sri Lanka Australia game,
Yeah.
where Sri Lanka beat Australia, chased it down. Same ground, same sort of condition in a strip. So there's a reason they won the toss and decided to chase. Had
Yeah.
it been that sticky pitch where they've been dismissed so cheaply, they would have batted first. So I still think that Sri Lanka are clearly the favorites to do one up over
Yep.
Pakistan.
Yeah. The third situation will also happen. Pakistan win, but not by the margin. That is also
Which I
possible.
think, which I think is the most likely scenario. I'm saying Pakistan win, but not by that margin is my first choice. Second choice, Sri Lanka win, and third choice, Pakistan win by the margin that they want. That's my third option
Yeah.
in terms of the percentage that I see.
Yep, indeed. So yeah, Shaheen and Naseem will open the bowling. Plus you got Nawaz, Shadab, Usman Tariq. That is still a pretty decent bowling lineup. So let's see how that happens. And Sarat Chandra saying 150 is what they need to beat these allegations, which I think are funny. And Indian fans doing it in being angry of PAK qualifying. Country's name should be coming first, then money. Hope SL does it again. There is nothing about money and about the broader good, yaar. It's a cricket game. People now shudder to even fix games. It doesn't happen like that. It's not as if, oh, we've turned on the switch. Let's fix this particular. Oh, let's drop this catch. Let's misfield. Sri Lanka didn't try that. I'm pretty
But
much
what
sure.
explains the flat Sri Lanka today?
I was expecting it to be very flat.
This kind of misfieldings, poor bowling,
Misfielding,
full
no.
tosses.
The bowling. I expected the bowling because they are shot. The way how they have lost both the games, they look absolutely shot. I expected a flat bowling performance, but not a fielding performance.
Do you think Pakistan will rue the fact that they couldn't get to 250, which they should have? That because we're talking about Sri Lanka's performance, it was flat, but those last 4 overs could be game changers. Just giving away whatever 30 odd runs, picking away 7, 8 wickets, completely changed the tide of the game in that sense. 212 could have been 242 easily, easily.
Plus one to that. Because see, you would know that Sri Lanka chased down 180, that too with overs to spare against Australia and Palakele. 176 for one with 4 overs to go. The launch pad was there. Another 4 overs, 50, 60 runs, 230 plus. The margin would have been far more difficult for Sri Lanka then to cope up. Yeah, I agree. Those 4 overs, the kamikaze way that they got out and the way how their batters didn't capitalize might hurt them in the long run. Which is why it's still only 51-49 for me. 49% Pakistan doesn't make it. 51% they do. But yeah, kamikaze performance.
You're being very generous. Very, very generous, I think.
Because of the way and the past history of Pakistan and Sri Lanka. Past history. And SL will go down. Varun Parvatneni though is very confident. SL will go down and they will take Pakistan along with them by going past 147. For most part, it looked like they are giving a favor, but sanity prevailed. This won't go away. This won't go away very soon. Like they're giving a favor and all those kind of a things. So Rahul, not Dravid, is saying the problem for New Zealand is there is no incentive for SL to try and deny PAK. They will go for chases even if they lose early wickets, which increases Pakistan chances. Or is it fixing allegations true? Said Nikhil. Not true for me.
Yeah, I mean, these are serious allegations. I wouldn't, try and level that against anyone without having any knowledge, and I don't think that will be fair. But I think he makes a valid point that
Yeah.
because for Sri Lanka, they don't care about that 150 like Pakistan does, right? if you are saying that Sri Lanka care about, I think they care about winning the game. That's what they would want to give their home fans. So they will obviously try and go for 212, yeah, which is a possibility. As I said, conditions can
Yeah.
favor them.
Yeah.
So yeah, but in that effort to do that, you can collapse. I know that opens up some sort of door for Pakistan.
Yep, indeed. GGK though wants just hope Pakistan qualifies so that we can humiliate them again. But GGK, don't chew off more than you can bite, my friend. Remember,
We
in
have to
a
qualify first.
yeah,
Pakistan would have qualified, and our big game is versus West Indies.
yes, but see, if you want Pakistan, and now it can probably happen only in the final. If that happens, boss, be scared, be very scared. So, yep. Ashish Ranjan, can Sri Lanka be bundled out for 147? I think yes, they can because they haven't crossed 111 in Super 8, so they're really vulnerable today. Told you. They are very vulnerable with the bat. If they get past 147, it'll be a miracle. And it'll be Kudrat ka Nizam for Sri Lanka that they did it in Palakele against so much pressure. So, all right, guys, we'll be back then for that match end. Let's see whether Pakistan make it. Is the unthinkable possible, or are we going to see Pakistan head straight back home? So, from
One word answer: Pakistan making it. One word answer from you. Semi-finals.
yes.
Okay, I say no. We reconvene at the end of the game,
Yeah.
and then we'll see who got it right.
All right. Bye bye. See you soon.